All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Elite Heat. We have a lot to cover on the run sheet today. I mean, we're going to be talking about the vicious truth behind Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania 39 loss. We're going to be talking about this massive lawsuit filed against Vincent Kennedy McMahon in WWE for alleged racial discrimination, wrongful termination. We're going to talk about the new World Heavyweight Championship. And we're going to talk about the WWE Draft that's ongoing right now. We are recording this right now during SmackDown. We're going to do something fun with that, where Jimmy's basically going to tell me what's going on, and I'm going to give my honest reactions, because I don't know what's going on with the draft at all. But first, we promised this last week. We're going to do a Prime review. Jimmy, where's your Prime? What? I got the lemon lime. Look at this. Look at the camera. Lemon lime.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your Prime, pal?
Look, before we get to your thoughts, your honest review of what you've got in your hand right there, I just want to say, to answer that question, it's about $8-9 over here. I refuse to buy it.
But you can't afford Prime? Is that what you're telling me? Logan Paul is too expensive for you? No, I will say that's outrageous. You know how much I paid for this? $1.88.
Oh, no, you didn't.
$1.88. $1.88 for this. They're 3 for $6. And they have, most stores that I go to, that I've been to, have all flavors. But I wanted to try the lemon lime. They didn't have my favorite strawberry watermelon. Lemon lime's like the only one I haven't tried that's accessible in stores. So I went with the lemon lime.
$1.88, 3 for $6.
You paid $9? You said $9 for one?
It's like 1 for $6 if you get lucky and find a generous store. And,
that's crazy.
It's outrageous. But Ken, do you want to give your review of the lemon lime you got there while we're here?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. All right.
Here we go. This is honest, brutally honest review. Here we go.
Definitely not my favorite flavor. Definitely not. I'll say that. I've had the strawberry watermelon. I've had the tropical punch. The white one, I think is Moon or something. Moon Meta or some shit.
Moon, yep.
The blueberry, and now the lemon lime. I would say the lemon lime is probably at the bottom of all the ones I've tried. Blueberry would be the next worst. Strawberry watermelon 1. Tropical 2. The Moon Meta 3. The blueberry 4, and now this one, the lemon lime. I can't find the grape anywhere. I want to try the grape, and there's another flavor. I can't remember what it is, but I can't find them. So,
right, okay. Also, just one more thing with the review there. So you've had a bunch of those flavors. You've now had that one. Would you say it's a good drink to have on the go, when you're exercising, or what's your general what's the best use for it?
Look at this nutrition facts. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's only 20 calories. So it's only 20 calories. There's no fat in it. There's 2 grams of sugar, and then 5 grams of carbs. There's no added sugar, no what's it called? No, they don't put fake sugar in it.
Yeah.
It's heavy potassium, heavy vitamins. I mean, it's and for all that with 20 calories, it tastes good. I'll say that. Yeah. It's not bad. Yeah. I mean, might as well. It's just Logan Paul's a big part of WWE, so why not talk about it? Why not talk about Prime?
Yeah.
I'd say it's a healthy drink. 20 calories, tastes good. If you could find it for a reasonable price, check it out. Yeah. For what you would pay for a 1, I could get it a 6-pack. Or a 12. I think I could get a 12-pack for $10 or $11. Yeah. That's nuts. That doesn't make any sense to me. What is going on? Yeah. So are they flipping Prime in the streets? Are people stealing it and then selling it to the stores that are then marking it up even more?
Well, this is the thing, because sports and nutrition stores will sell it, but your general mainstream grocery stores over here still don't actually sell it. When they start selling it, it'll be the same price as what you pay, where it's 3 for $6, that sort of stuff.
Good.
But here it's still, 1 for $5.50 or 1 for $6. It's sort of around that range. So, yeah, not ideal.
Yeah. It's small too. It's only 16 ounces. It's a small bottle. So I'll be drinking that throughout the show. All right, go ahead, pal.
So before we go on with the rest of the show, plenty of juicy content today to get into. I just want to say, firstly, your shirt, Kevin, looking fresh.
Thank you. Yeah, got the DX Classic. But let's see yours, pal.
Yep, I've got to rep some greatness. Here we go.
Yeah, but you don't even like him, bro. You want to see him lose his championship. Why are you wearing that?
Oh my god!
Where's your American Nightmare shirt? You're the biggest Cody fan now. After being a Roman Reigns fan for 3 years, you switched up on him. Why are you even wearing that, bro?
Stay tuned for the Backlash preview. I've got a surprise for you, Kevin. So,
are you gonna walk back? You're gonna walk back your horrendous Cody takes? You're on here crying after WrestleMania, crying like all the Cody stans. You're gonna walk that back,
This
bro?
is disgraceful. The words Cody and crying, get them. That you don't have to say one without, like, Kevin.
You were
It's
crying
Cody
about
Rhodes.
Cody. You were crying, pal. I
I
witnessed
was
it.
crying.
The
I was
listeners
bringing,
witnessed it. You were
I was
crying
bringing
because
the
he didn't win a
truth.
fake championship belt, bro.
I was giving you the realities of the situation. You didn't even believe what you were saying, and people in the chat told us that. Anyway,
What do you
we'll
mean?
move.
What do you mean? I firmly stand by what I said. I'm not walking that take back like I did the Ronda Rousey take. That was
Oh,
horrendous.
okay.
I had to walk that back. Cody, I stand by everything I said. Yeah, nevertheless, now we're talking Cody. Let's talk about this. There's one point that you and I never touched on when we talked about Cody and him losing the belt, or losing the match, rather, at WrestleMania 39 at Roman.
Yeah.
You said that you had this in the back of your mind and you never brought it up. It never crossed my mind. I didn't even think about it, you know?
Yeah.
But what happened 4 years ago at Double or Nothing 2019? Do you remember in regards to Cody?
I do. Do you want to inside the listeners as to what happened, or do you want me to?
So, for those of you who don't remember or don't know, at Double or Nothing 2019, the inaugural AEW pay-per-view, the inaugural AEW show, Cody came out, had a grand entrance, came out sitting on a throne, and then he took a sledgehammer to the throne. You know, just blatantly took a shot at Triple H. The whole internet was going crazy. Oh my god, Cody hates Triple H. And then, what did Cody do for the years that he was on the indies? He'd come out, he would say things like, oh, I can send you to NXT, bro, to develop your skills, you know? Or he would just like subtle shots at Triple H, and specifically Triple H, not Vince. Specifically Triple H. Cody would take shots at him throughout the years. And I mean, it just hit me like, that's probably why Cody lost. Like, realistically. You know, like, one, it's about the cheddar. There's more money in Cody chasing, being the babyface. And two, he disrespected the boss. So now the boss got to show him what's up, you know? I mean, he was a Vince signing. Cody came back in 2022 when Vince was firmly in control before all the vicious allegations unloaded against him. You know, so now that Triple H is in power, Triple H probably like, I don't know if I want to just give this guy the world, you know, after he disrespected me for years. But I think deep down, though, I think Triple H looks at it as like, that's probably what I would do if I was him. So I think there's some respect there. Maybe it's just a crazy conspiracy theory. Maybe I'm nuts. But, you know, I do think that's part of why Cody lost.
Yeah, which I still think that shouldn't factor into it. It just shouldn't. But the reality is it probably did in some way, shape, or form. The fact that Triple H now runs the show, Triple H makes these big final sign-offs, Triple H is the final say. He's the head of creative. And Cody, the guy who is the most over wrestler now, the biggest star of 2023, like the superstar of the year, really, in that regard. 4 years ago, he bashed a throne in with a sledgehammer, took ruthless shots at Triple H and NXT, and tried to get NXT taken off of USA because all this sort of stuff. So it does make sense. But I disagree. As we've established, we had many debates on this. We don't need to have another 45-minute one.
And I'm sorry, maybe just interject this too. It's not just the fact that he broke a throne with a sledgehammer. It's the fact that Cody single-handedly spearheaded the revolution that led to AEW. Without Cody, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are not starting AEW. Like, they're just not going to have that mainstream traction that a guy like Cody Rhodes brings, you know? So Cody is the guy that started the competition on top of that too. So, I mean, it's like, it makes sense. We've seen this before. We've seen this many, many times. Like, when all the guys, like when Goldberg came over from WCW, yeah, he won the championship eventually, but, he laid down for Paul Levesque, and he laid down for whoever was, like, I don't remember who he lost to, maybe The Rock, or I think he beat The Rock, I don't know. But either way, it took Goldberg a while, and he had to overcome adversity, and basically he got buried, to put it bluntly. He got buried first, and then he was given the championship.
Yeah, he has to work twice as hard for something that he should have. It's,
Yeah, so it's not outrageous.
Yeah, it's in this case with Cody, he's going to have to probably either win Money in the Bank, or we'll get to that in coming months, and he'll probably have to beat Roman at SummerSlam, or there are rumors now that it's going to be Cody Roman at WrestleMania 40.
I'm down.
I'm not. I'm just not.
You don't want to see twice in a lifetime, pal?
The Rock twice in a lifetime. We've been there, done that. That doesn't work. No thanks. Hopefully it's at SummerSlam, pal. But anyway.
All right, so I'm going to save this clip right now. And then in like March of 2024, I'll replay that clip to you when you're like, Cody must win, and you're crying about how Cody's been held down, and he's your favorite wrestler now, and Roman, you hate Roman Reigns, so I'll save that.
Okay, I look forward to it. But one thing I will say, just while we're still sort of on this with the Cody and the throne thing, and 4 years ago, I did a recent retrospective on 2019 on my own channel, quick plug. And the big takeaway I was thinking to myself, you look at 2019 especially, and 2020 for much of it, compare that to nowadays.
Yeah.
As far as quality of the shows, what there is to talk about, the main event star power, how interesting things are. A large portion of that, I think, one, Triple H taking over creative, but two, AEW's had a big positive impact on WWE in the last few years. I think is undeniable, and something that I don't think many people are really saying nowadays, even though it's a reality. Like, I think you look at WWE now, Kevin, we actually have stuff to talk about week to week. There's that much juicy news. Granted, a bit of this is a lawsuit, thanks to some awful stuff backstage. But nonetheless, there's stuff going on. There's pretty much always week to week now something for us to discuss. So I think as content creators, thanks to Cody sledgehammer smashing in the throne in 2019 and everything that came with it with the revolution, we can now have this opportunity to talk about more stuff and have more interesting content for you great listeners. So
absolutely. There you go. So you heard Jimmy. The reason why he's a Cody fan is because he gives us content, not because he wants to see him win.
That is a ridiculous allegation. That is not true. That is a hateful allegation.
All right, pal. Moving forward. Speaking of Paul Levesque and things to talk about, one Paul Levesque last Monday on Raw, and it's been a while since we talked, huh? He introduced the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I have some things to say, but I want to get your thoughts. Give me your just most vicious, vile, disturbing, ruthless, brutally honest thoughts on the new World Heavyweight Championship.
I will say, first off, I love how you pose that question. That gets better every week. When it comes to this title, this plugs a lot of gaps, especially in like the upper mid-card and main event scene. When we have Roman Reigns holding the WWE and the Universal title, he's holding one belt, the WWE title, for 400 plus days now, the Universal title for nearly 1,000 days, and he's not showing up on TV, like, ever. He hasn't appeared since the Raw after WrestleMania. That was 24 days ago at this stage-ish. So we're now bordering on a month, Kevin, since our guy with 2 belts has shown up. The guy I'm rocking on the shirt here, might I say. That being said, what does that leave? That leaves 3 hours of Raw and the 2 hours of SmackDown, but mainly those 3 hours of Raw, but there's nothing. There's no world title. You've got Cody and Brock feuding, which we've discussed last week and previously. That's fun. That's some good stuff there. But there's no world title. So my thought on this, I'm happy about it on the whole. Now, it waits to be seen how this gets booked, how they do and how they use this championship. If this becomes the World Heavyweight title from 2011 through 2013, I don't want any part of it. I don't need Dolph Ziggler and Alberto Del Rio having 25-minute matches, or for a modern comparison, like Finn Balor and Austin Theory having like 20-minute matches for this thing. We don't need that. This championship should be, Rollins. It should be maybe Brock has like one little run with it. Drew McIntyre, like upper mid-card guys who aren't good enough to be above Roman. So the upper mid-card to main event guy, that should be for them. So my honest thoughts on this, I think it's a good move. It's a smart move. It fixes a lot of kind of plot holes with the WWE and the main event sort of realm. But it waits to be seen. There's a lot of room for this to be a kind of dud. We'll see. So Kevin, what are your thoughts? Hit us with a power. What are your brutally honest, vicious, ruthless, unfiltered, uncensored thoughts?
The first thing I gotta say is that you gave me PTSD when you brought up Alberto Del Rio and Dolph Ziggler. I had flashbacks to 2013 WWE. Oh man, that was God. Thank you for bringing that up. One thing I want to say about how this was booked, how they presented it. I feel like they could have got something from Roman with this. Like, you could have had Roman just come out after Triple H announces it, or not even come out. He could have just been sitting on his couch at home in Pensacola, Florida, wherever the hell he's at, and just be like, Triple H, you gotta introduce a new belt because nobody can beat me. That belt sucks. I don't even want it. And he could just like he could just bury the belt a little bit.
Yeah.
They never addressed the elephant in the room. You know, there was a clear elephant in the room about how like Roman is holding both championships, never lost them. Did he? Correct me if I'm wrong, but
No,
did he address the Roman thing?
they address that. So Triple H in the promo, he literally says Roman negotiated his way to where he's got both championships and he sits at home, sort of thing. That's basically what Triple H said.
Right.
And then as a result, we're going to introduce this new title. So they addressed that.
Yeah.
And to many people, it came off that this new title is a consolation prize. This is we're not good enough to beat Roman championship. This is just another world title. That's what a bunch of people thought. I see where they're coming from. I don't fully agree myself. But yeah, that being said, they did address it. Triple H was like, yeah, Roman negotiated his way to sit at home with both titles. Here's the solution. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, it's not a great. I don't know if that's a great way to go about it. That's why people were saying it's a consolidation prize. But I guess like they never really addressed the fact that like nobody could beat the guy. It was just like, oh, Roman's home. Roman's home, so we're gonna make a new title. Okay,
Yeah.
like okay, cool. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that. I think they could have got something out of it by just having Roman be snarky about it.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, "Hey, Roman's not here. Here's a new title for the rest of you. You guys that are not as good as him. Here, you guys fight over that." I don't know. It's go ahead.
So just quickly on that, you think it would have been better if they had Triple H is unveiling it, he does the promo, you have like Paul Heyman come out.
Yes.
And he's like laughing. He's like, oh my, you cannot be serious. This is a joke. You want our tribal chief to win a third world title, do you? Roman 3 belts?
That would have been great. Yes. That would have been great.
Heyman's like mocking it. And then Heyman can go, this decision's so bad. We're getting Roman Reigns from Skype in his mansion in Pensacola, Florida with his 5 kids. He's going to be on Skype with you later tonight, Triple H. Exclusive on Raw. We can get Roman's reaction to them coming up with a new title because no one can beat him. They could have done something like that.
Or they could have played it off too, where they're like, the Universal title was from the old regime. The Universal title has no lineage. We're gonna make the 2 titles that Roman has. That's the WWE title. That's the title that Brett had and Shawn had and Austin and Hogan had. And we're bringing back the world title, the one that Ric Flair and Harley Race and all those guys had. They could have gone about it that way too. It would have made a little bit more sense, I think. Than just like, here's a belt. Here, McIntyre, you can have this, bro. You can't beat Roman, but here, you can win this one. I'm not crazy about it. Let's talk about the design.
Yep.
A lot of people have it's polarizing. A lot of people have differing opinions. Most people are like, oh my god, best belt ever. Or they're like, oh, this is great, looks great. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm gonna get tomatoes, throw the tomatoes at me. I don't like the design of this belt. I don't like it. It looks like a toy. It looks like if I told my 10-year-old nephew, hey, here's WWE 2K23, create a WWE Championship. It's like they took the big gold belt and just put the WWE logo on it. So if you're gonna like redo the big gold belt, just bring the big gold belt back, the one that we know, or something similar to the one that we know. If you're not gonna do that, why not make a unique original title? That's just me. That's what I think about it. It just, I don't really like it. It's not that pleasing to the eye. It looks like a mid-card belt. It looks like a toy.
Right.
It doesn't. I mean, maybe it'll get better over time. For me, it'll age like fine wine, and I'll start to come around to it. But I'm not too crazy about it. What do you think?
I think you'll come around to it a bit. I don't think you'll ever think it's some beautiful, amazing championship. I'm interested to see once wrestlers are holding it and it got around their waist and actually cutting promos with it. I want to see how it looks then, because it just sitting on that little perch stand thing as everyone's like the camera zooms in. I don't know if it's the best presentation like that. I will say it clears the Universal title when they brought that in 7 years ago.
Yeah,
that belt was hideous.
Absolutely. The red one.
Oh my god, a red piece of strawberry shortcake with a fat W in the middle. And they're like, hey, Fergal, here you go. You've been here 3 weeks. There's the title. But Finn Balor faced plenty of adversity to get his big moment for the Universal title. Cody, a 15-year career. No, not enough adversity.
But Cody did start the competition. I mean, Fergal wasn't out there starting the competition in WWE. Fergal would have had to face the same adversity, bro, if he was the guy that started AEW.
That's borderline racist towards Cody.
I
Just
mean,
because Cody
what?
has a black wife. He has to face more adversity because he's a
What?
black wife. That's disgraceful.
Wow.
That's disgraceful.
Wow. I mean, all right. Is that a transition to the next to the next segment?
No, not yet. We'll get to that, pal. But
Okay.
what I will say about the
Okay.
we got some blistering allegations thrown already. You've accused me of something earlier, which I'm not a fan of. There's an accusation going back. Nonetheless, back to the championship design. Let's get this show back on the rails. I think the championship design is decent. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. I'm not yet ready to go on one of those sort of ends. Once again, I want to see when wrestlers are holding it. Once Seth Rollins or once Lashley or Brock or whoever's holding this thing, Cody, whoever, once they have the title, what it looks like. And if, if they play it off well, I think this belt, when I see it, I think it's made for like Cody, the aesthetic of the title, like the kind of big, the gold sort of, I think it would fit with Cody, but Cody should beat Roman. I don't know where they're going, but yeah, that's my thoughts, Kevin.
I don't think Cody should win it. I don't think that's a good idea. Unless, WWE really wants to go through with the fact that, like, they're going to hammer home, like, oh, you started AEW. You're going to be number 2. You're never going to be number 1. And they just, like, make him the, well, I don't even call it the, like
the TNT champion that they put in WWE. But it'd be the same thing. He'd be running around crying, facing Theory with this, like, this championship. Everyone, and you'd be like, see, I told you. Cody's crying. And then he's like, I met Theory in a gym 8 years ago. And my mixed race child was watching me work out. And I tore my pec. And you got like, you're on Twitter being like, this is the worst segment I've ever seen in my life. I'm never watching it again. But no, hopefully, Cody stays away from this because otherwise it would feel like the TNT title all over again. Cody can stick to Roman. You can have Seth running around. You can have. I saw people saying Fergal should win this.
Oh,
no,
please,
just no,
please,
no,
please,
no.
No.
He shouldn't have won in 2016. He shouldn't have won in 2019 when he feuded with Brock at the Royal Rumble. He shouldn't win now. He shouldn't win in 5 years. He shouldn't win the title, Kevin.
Oh no.
He shouldn't.
I want to see Fergal win just to watch you have a heart attack on stream.
Kevin, he flashed his balls to 2.2 million viewers live on SmackDown on Fox.
Oh yeah, he single-handedly killed the SmackDown on Fox era. That's the end. That was the end of the SmackDown on Fox era. The WWE's not renewing that contract, or Fox isn't renewing that contract, rather. WWE would be the first to renew it. Fox ain't renewing that. It's over. All it took was Ferg's Devitt showing his nutsack on TV. All right, moving on. No. Let's not talk about this anymore.
Move on.
Next topic. We're gonna table the lawsuit stuff. I want to talk about the draft first.
Yes.
So hit me with it, pal.
You want the picks?
Yeah, give me something, pal. Yeah, give me something.
Have a stab at the dark. Where did Roman Reigns go? Where did Roman Reigns end up, do you think?
SmackDown.
Correct. Where do you think Cody ended up?
SmackDown.
No.
NXT.
Cody's on Raw.
He's on NXT, bro? No,
I was saying, Cody didn't get drafted to Dark Elevation? What?
So Cody was the number 2 pick? And Roman was number 1?
Pick. Cody goes to Raw.
So wait, so who made these picks? Like, Adam Pearce just like, I represent the SmackDown brand. I represent the Raw brand too. Like, we don't have a representative for either brand.
No, we don't. Basically, Triple H came out at the start of the show. Bow down to the game. He came out and was like,
thank you for that.
First pick is Roman Reigns with Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman. So
the Usos didn't come with them.
No, they did not. So that waits to play out. And then he goes, Raw's first pick is Cody Rhodes. And and he got the crowd to do a whoa. So Triple H conducting the audience. And then Kevin, have a stab at the dark. Who do you think the next pick would be? This is SmackDown's second pick. Who do you think? Just throw a name out there.
Bianca Belair.
Nailed it. The Raw Women's Champion drafted to SmackDown is the third pick.
So she gets a blue belt now.
Yeah, so they're going to do what they did in 2019, they'll do a belt swap. So they'll give her the blue strawberry shortcake as opposed to the red strawberry shortcake.
The blueberry shortcake?
Yeah, the blueberry shortcake, pal.
So they're just going to do a segment where, like, Rhea Ripley comes out and just like, here, throws the belt at her like she's Brock Lesnar throwing the belt at Vince's head.
That'd be so funny. Yeah, you got like they have a sit down segment, Paul Levesque in the middle. He's like, we're gonna hand over the championships. And like Rhea Ripley's like, oh, shove it up your ass, and like throws the title at Bianca Belair and storms off. And Bianca Belair stands there with like both championships, twirling her hair. Like, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, Kevin, the next pick. Monday Night Raw. Have a guess. Who do you reckon?
I don't know. I feel like they do something crazy like Montez Ford or something. Like I feel like he's gonna go really high. Maybe Seth Rollins, you would think, or Rhea Ripley.
Close, but no. The
Gunther.
top female pick on Raw is Becky Lynch. So, do with that what you will. Really, then, so Triple H did those picks. They do a match. They have LA Knight get a win. Cool.
Wow.
Then they do the second round. Are you ready for the second round?
Let's hear it.
Okay, Kevin. The second round of picks. Really, the thing with this. Firstly, for starters,
Wait, can I just say? I'm just give my honest reaction to Becky Lynch first.
Yeah, go on.
Why is Becky Lynch getting drafted so high? It's 2023. It's not 2018. Right. Like what? I'd rather Trish Stratus get drafted that high if you're gonna draft a female at that point. Trish Stratus is more value. Not to diminish Becky Lynch, but she's not the champion one. Rhea Ripley's the other champion. So you're telling me right now I'm being told by you and by WWE, by Paul Levesque, that Rhea Ripley is second fiddle to Becky Lynch. She's not as important. She's not as over. She's not as big of a star. But she's good enough to be the champion. Intriguing. Continue.
Yep. So the second round, Kevin, we start off the Street Profits. So Raw superstars, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They're now on SmackDown.
Okay. I had a feeling they would get drafted high.
Yeah. So I think if when they're drafted that high, I think Montez has to go solo.
Yeah.
At some point in the next
gotta
few
happen.
months.
Gotta happen.
That's been one of these things where it's like it should happen. It's going to happen for literally years now. That should happen this year, realistically. If we're being honest. Then Kevin, one of the moves which I'm happy they did. I was wanting them to do this. The Intercontinental Champion Gunther and the Imperium team, they're now on Raw.
Good.
So
he's gonna be the flagship champion.
I know. That's pretty good. Oh, Kevin, remember, there's a new belt that you love the design of. We're gonna have Cody running around crying against Theory.
Yeah, did Theory get drafted to SmackDown?
Theory hasn't been drafted yet. No, I think he's being drafted on Raw. Theory. Kevin, then we move to the next pick.
He's still US champion, right?
Yeah, so he'll be going to SmackDown when they draft him, most likely.
Continue.
Edge is back on SmackDown.
Oh.
So there you go. And pal, are you ready for this next? This next pick is landscape changing.
Oh God.
Are you ready for this, Kevin?
Oh God.
Call up. Your parents will be hyped about this. Riddle is on Raw.
Wow. Oh, you hear that, Mom? Riddle's on Raw. Oh man, we're gonna go smoke a joint and eat some pizza and watch a Riddle segment now.
Oh my God. But no, and anyway, in actually a better pick that we care about, Bobby Lashley is now on SmackDown. So they're probably going to do Lashley Reigns, and that's the direction they will maybe do soon. Twitter was hyped about that, from what I've been told.
Assuming Reigns shows up.
Well, this is the thing, right? He'll show up once every 6 weeks, so who really cares at this point? So there's that. Then we move, Kevin, Drew McIntyre.
Ooh. Raw?
Drew McIntyre nailed it. Now on Raw.
Can I say this about the Reigns and Lashley thing?
Go for it.
I don't know if they've done this yet, but just imagine they do a segment where Reigns shows up and he's just like, yeah, Bobby Lashley ain't worthy of challenging me. Drops the mic. We don't see him for 2 months. The thought of him facing Bobby Lashley for the belt just causes Reigns to go into a mini retirement.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, and I want to raise this point just quickly with Reigns before we move on the rest of this draft order. One thing, so Walt Clyde, quick shout out. The point he makes, which I love, when Brock Lesnar was a part-time champion and Brock would show up once every 3 pay-per-views and beat someone, Brock never needed help. He's a part-timer. He's this jacked 6'3" guy. Realistically, use some sense. He should have all the time in the world. When he shows up, he hasn't hurt his body for months. He just shows up, destroys his opponent, and leaves. Roman doesn't wrestle for 2 months, shows up, 5 men are required.
Stop. Hold on. This is the same thing I said in February, and you cried and got all upset. Because I said that Reigns didn't need the Usos to beat Sami. You're like, it's the story! It's the story! You don't understand! And now you're over here praising someone else for making the same point? Nah, get out of here. Get out of here. Move on. I don't want to hear your fickle opinions anymore. Next segment. What happened next in the draft?
In Montreal, it worked. So you know
Get
you're
out of
wrong.
here. Get
You know
out of
you're wrong. You
here.
like choked on your lemon lime prime then.
Get out of here. Get out of here with this. This guy changes opinions more than politicians, bro. But what is going on here? Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is the most blasphemous. I'm gonna erase that from my memory. That's getting the Chris Benoit treatment from my memory.
Benoit treatment, that. And then we move on. We did Drew McIntyre, yes? I told you where Drew went?
Yes, you did.
Yes, good. He's now on Raw. Then we move, Kevin. Your favorite stable in wrestling?
Oh, Jesus. The Damage Control, bro? You talking about Damage Control?
No, I'm talking about the Good Brothers, or the OC.
What?
Styles,
Who?
Gallows,
Who?
Anderson, and Mia Yim.
What?
Apparently, Mia Yim's been drafted as part of the OC. They've been drafted from Raw to SmackDown. So
The Good
AJ
Brothers
Styles,
are back at WWE?
Yeah, they never left.
When did that happen? I thought they were in Japan, like hanging out with like whoever, Jay White.
Now this is a third round pick.
They're hanging out with like Fit Finley's son in Japan. What? When did they come back to WWE? This is news to me.
I know, this is great. And Kevin, deep breath. Are you ready for this pick? Kevin, who would you say is the wrestler you've ranted most about in the past? Well, the early history of your channel.
Are you kidding me? Come on. You know the answer. Everybody listening knows the answer. I'll let the chat answer that one. Go ahead, hit me with it.
So, Kevin, on Monday nights, you've got to clear your plans, okay? If you've got work, if you've got school, whatever you're doing, forget it. Because on Mondays,
oh no,
Miz TV is coming back to Raw, baby.
Oh,
Mike the Miz Mizanin on Monday nights.
You know what this means? This is political. Not political,
Oh.
but this is, I mean, I guess political, not in the political sense of like WWE being politically savvy. This is because Miz and Mrs. is coming back. So we gotta have Miz main eventing Raw so we can get a lead-in to Miz and Mrs. Season 4. You know, the big scandal, Maurice is gonna be cheating on the Miz in Season 4 of Miz and Mrs. I can't wait.
That's just awful. No, so there's that. So the Miz got drafted. Now, your favorite female stable, Damage Control. They're going to SmackDown, so, you know.
Riveting.
I know, you're hyped. And then the last few picks
This is so bad.
I know. Pal, Shinsuke Nakamura.
What? I thought he went to NJPW. I thought he was gone.
Kevin, 2 years ago in January, there was a buzz on social media. Nakamania. It's gonna take place. WrestleMania 37. It never happened, thank God. Tonight, Shinsuke Nakamura has been drafted from SmackDown to Raw.
Yeah, the IWC in 2021 was crying worse than you were crying in our Elimination Chamber 2023 review to see Nakamura win the the WWE title.
Kevin, you got bodied in that review. It was.
Bro, you just admitted that I'm right, like 5 minutes ago.
I never said that.
You just admitted that I'm right.
You can't prove any of this.
I have this on CCTV, bro.
Camera footage. Hello. And then we move, Kevin. These final picks. These are landscape changing. This will change your viewership habits. This will change my viewership habits, Kevin. With the 15th overall pick and in the part of the 4th round from NXT, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are drafted to SmackDown.
Who?
Alba Fyre, Fyre, and Isla Dawn, the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, have been drafted to SmackDown.
Wow.
Kevin.
I'm
gonna need to make like 7 videos on JTE about this. This is like a game-changing move.
Oh my god. So who are the women's champions? Is Raquel, right? Raquel and her back.
Yeah, Raquel's gimmicks is just the lat spread. Yeah.
So I guess those two girls are coming for the titles, pal. They're gonna unify the titles.
Kevin, yeah, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn.
So they're gonna win. Yeah. They're gonna win the belts, and then they're gonna like go to NXT like they're Sasha Banks and Bayley. They're gonna go to all 3 brands, defend the belts on all 3 brands. These lovely ladies, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn.
Yes. I
love it. I'm here for it, pal. You're right. That is gonna change my habits. I I can't wait to tune into SmackDown now every single Friday night and watch the NXT Tag Team Champions tear it down. I'm excited.
Yeah. And Kevin, in 2021 in NXT, there was an act
Oh.
named the Gargano Way, which featured John Gargano, Candice LeRae, your favorite A-Town Down, Austin Theory, and one other member. And this member was tonight drafted to Friday Night SmackDown. It is Indy Hartwell from the land down under.
Oh.
The kangaroos are bouncing. Shrimps are on the barbie. You got parades going on out here. It's a bit rainy today, but they're braving the cold weather in April in Australia.
Are the dingoes running around going wild?
Yeah, Dingo just drop kicked someone out there because of this pick. Kevin, this is a big deal. This is the number 16 pick.
Wow. Whew.
So there's Kevin's brutally honest reaction to night one of the 2023 WWE Draft. Just to recap, Reigns and Cody are on separate shows. Gunther and Drew McIntyre are now on Raw. SmackDown now has Edge and Lashley. And then
interesting.
Bianca Belair has moved.
Interesting lineup of picks. Yeah, you can see the heavy Triple H influence there at the end, especially. A lot of the NXT talent that are like Triple H guys and gals being moved around. I thought for sure we were going to see Braun Breaker and Cora Jade drafted. I thought for sure that was going to be like the first. I would have put money that they would have been the first NXT talents off the board. But hey, what do I know, pal? Overall, my brutally honest thoughts on what you just told me.
Yep.
So one, the number one pick's not going to show up, so it's not really relevant. Two, I thought Cody was on Raw already.
He is. He is already.
Okay.
And he's just been drafted back to Raw, so he hasn't moved.
All right. So Brock Lesnar's a free agent, right? He's got that clause where he can show up on both. In the storyline, he can show up on both shows.
So basically, so they're doing night 2 on Raw.
And Brock
the
is
main
eligible.
names. Yeah, the main names that we honestly care about. Brock, he's eligible there. Seth Rollins, I guess. Ronda Rousey, your favorite wrestler. Rhea Ripley. The Usos. We'll see where they go. And Akira Tozawa's getting drafted as well on Raw.
It makes sense to why they divided it the way they did. So they're doing night 2. They want to save some names. That makes sense. I assume that's when we'll see Braun Breaker and Cora Jade be drafted. I don't know what any other NXT talents. Carmelo Hayes just won the belt. He's not going anywhere.
No, they do them as surprises. But I just want to say one thing I find hilarious. Like if you go to the Wikipedia right now and look at these, night 1 supplemental picks is what they're calling them. These wrestlers weren't good enough to make the Raw draft pool, the SmackDown draft pool. Do you want to hear, Kevin, the night 1 supplemental picks are getting drafted as we speak?
Yes, please.
This is telling. Dolph Ziggler he just got drafted.
He's still employed?
I know, as a night 1 supplemental draft pick.
Wow. Okay.
That tells you a lot. And other names, I'll just rattle these off now. We got Dexter Lumis, Lacey Evans, Ali, Omos is apparently a supplemental pick.
Wow.
Viking Raiders.
What? Wait, hold on. This is the guy this is the guy faced Brock Lesnar in the opening night 2 at WrestleMania 39. And he's a supplemental pick
here, and Omos gets drafted on Raw. But as of right now, it's got in the same table, the same spreadsheet table as Dolph Ziggler, who just got drafted to SmackDown as a supplemental pick. It's got Omos 5 rows below.
No disrespect to the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, but they got drafted over Omos. Just one example. Who was another egregious pick? The Miz. The Miz gets drafted. Like, The Miz is easily a supplemental pick, bro. What value is The Miz adding to pro wrestling in 2023?
Kevin, to steal a line from one of the wrestling YouTubes I watch, Pro Wrestling Bits, this has to be racial.
Oh, man. Well,
anyway,
good transition now. Let's talk about it. All right.
Yep.
Speaking of racial injustices in WWE.
Yep.
Oh, wow. All right, so I'm going to read an article from Forbes. All right, so the title of this article is WWE Racial Discrimination Lawsuit. Shocking details behind alleged racist pitches. So essentially, for those of you who don't know what's going on, there's a young lady by the name of Brittany Abrahams, who presumably was one of few, maybe the only, black writer on WWE's creative team for a number of years. And she has recently been dismissed from the company. Apparently, shortly after WrestleMania 39, she got fired for stealing a WrestleMania 39 chair the way it was worded, or stealing, whatever, however you
Yeah.
want to say it.
Taking a commemorative chair, which
Yeah.
other people did, she got fired.
Yeah, she got fired for it. So there's a wrongful termination suit. Great, fine. That's not to diminish that, but that's not the most scolding and controversial topic here. So the main lawsuit is the racial discrimination, which I believe Bianca Belair gave an official statement to, and Brittany Abrahams gave an official statement. I'm not sure if any other talents did. I waited till we were on air to read most of this article live. Like, I know the overall gist of what's going on,
Yeah.
but I haven't done a
Yeah.
deep dive into it. So we're gonna do that now. All right. So, former WWE writer Brittany Abrahams is suing WWE, alleging discrimination and retaliation during her time with the promotion. The lawsuit, which names Vince McMahon and other company employees, you ready for this? Chris Dunn, Ryan Callahan, Jennifer Pepperman, Christine Lubrano, Mike Heller, and Stephanie McMahon. So this is like the creme de la creme of the executives and the creative forces behind WWE. Not just the on-screen product, but all the business moves that they do, and hiring, firing, sponsorships, partnerships. These are the people that are running the show,
Besides Paul Levesque and Nick Khan, just note that. But
yes,
carry on.
they're not mentioned. So the lawsuit cites offensively racist and stereotypical jargon used in WWE scripts. Abrahams, who claims she was fired over taking a commemorative chair despite her male Caucasian colleagues doing the same with no recourse, is seeking reinstatement, damages, declaratory judgment, and an injunction restraining defendants from engaging in such unlawful conduct. WWE declined to comment on these accusations. Wow.
Right. Okay.
All right. So there's a lot to unpack there alone.
Yeah.
So there's the classic. Okay, the white guys got to take home chairs, but I'm black. I didn't get to take home a chair. Now that's not always as black and white as it is. We don't know what was going on with her. We don't know if there were problems backstage or whatever. She was difficult to work with. She showed up late every day. We don't know. We don't know what happened. Yeah. So I'm not gonna jump too much into that. But that's just, ooh, man, that's not a good look to read that statement though, right?
No. Mike, just quick. I'll say on that. When I hear that with the chair thing, where understandably there's hundreds of those like WrestleMania ringside chairs, like the ones that if you're sitting ringside of the show, they have like commemorative chairs. She's taken one. By the sounds of, I'm just trying to put two and two together with this. She's, by the sounds of it, been pretty, I guess, either disgusted with what's being written backstage, or she's generally unimpressed with what's happening backstage for months and months and well over a year, based on what we hear in this suit. And WWE, I'd imagine some of these people, Callahan and these other guys who are writing all this stuff that she's, having a real issue with, there's probably a clash there. I'd imagine there was probably some stuff happening backstage, whether she was, being a bit annoying to them, or they were saying rude things to her. You get this sort of back and forth. That's sort of the tipping point, this chair thing. WWE have gone, oh, well, we'll get rid of her thanks to this chair thing. She took a chair. That's what we'll use to get rid of her, which that's not great. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out in court. Anyway, Kevin, carry on with the article, pal.
Well, you mentioned, it's ironic, like you pointed out that Nick Khan and Triple H weren't mentioned in this. But at the end of the day, they're the two that are in charge. Like, yeah, Vince McMahon can be sued in this for the wrongful termination stuff, but they're the two in charge. So, not a great look under the new regime for someone to be let go under such questionable circumstances. So, now they talk about some of the stuff that the storyline pitches, the creative. Yeah.
Here we go.
So Abraham raised very serious allegations of racially insensitive pitches from within the WWE writers' room against black talent, Muslim talent, and women. Now, I want to point this out too. I don't think this should come as a shock, like as fucked up as it is to say. Shouldn't really come as a shock to anybody. And we literally have, like, I was growing up, I was like 10 years old, watching a segment where Vince McMahon came out. He's standing in the ring, and he says, all right, all the black talent, leave. Go to the back. You're unwanted. And he says the N-word to John Cena. He's got, like, Chavo Guerrero and Eddie Guerrero doing the stereotypical Mexican stuff. the
Yeah.
Mexicals coming out driving lawnmowers. You got Puerto Rican wrestlers like coming out trying to sell people cruises and being shady and shisty. All these
Yeah.
stereotypes about numerous people. Asian stuff, Jinder
Yeah.
Mahal, the stereotypical stuff there. Muhammad Hassan, you know, there's tons and tons. So
Yeah.
like it's kind of like it's been there. Like it's been understood that there's been this, you know, this stereotypical stuff, and so it's not like this is coming out of nowhere per se, but it's good that somebody's finally coming out and saying something about it and doing something about it. I'm not trying to diminish this or put excuse for it,
Yeah.
but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that like this is not brand new stuff. You know?
Yeah. Well, as you're saying, wrestling is inherently stereotypical.
Yes.
You have a Russian wrestler comes in, they're a big bad guy who has to take on the American. Like it's sort of just wrestling was used to be a circus act. It's a carny show. It's a performance. So the stereotype stuff's always there. These examples, which you'll get to in a moment, we can talk about them one by one because I mean they're all, in my opinion, for their own reasons, they're all like, oh my, well, wow.
Yeah.
We'll carry on.
And
Carry on.
I mean, this is like these are a few things that have been pitched in a writer's room where you got. Like, think about it, you got writers that are in there for hours and hours and hours brainstorming
Mm.
content. Like, who knows? Like, this is probably not even the worst of the worst. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's been said in writers' rooms across the last 40
Yeah.
plus years of WWE in existence under Vince McMahon. So, wow. Still, with that being like, just like saying that, it's like, man, this is not even the tip of the iceberg here. All
Oh
right, so some of
no.
the pitches include Reggie to dress up in drag on television. Okay,
Right.
interesting. I mean, I don't know if that's the worst thing I've ever heard. All
That's
right,
not. That's what. Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say with that because like Reggie really. I mean, we haven't seen Reggie in like 2 years now, but around this time, end of 2020, early 2021. Remember they did that like intergender match with Reggie and Sasha Banks on a
Yes.
SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, that whole Reggie act was a bit like I was never super invested in Reggie, and you can tell as we're hearing with this allegedly, but no doubt there was probably some outrageous, more ridiculous ideas with Reggie and that sort of character. But yeah, interesting. Carry on.
That's
Carry on.
is intriguing.
Yeah.
So then there was the alleged crocodile hunter type character. I have not
Oh,
seen
this
this
is
one yet.
insane.
I
Yeah,
have
no,
not
this is
seen
nuts.
this. All right, so former WWE superstar Shane Thorne,
Yep.
who is Australian, was
Yep.
pitched the idea to hunt Reggie.
Mm,
According to the suit, the angle was pitched by lead WWE writer Ryan Callahan. Holding
yep.
Reggie captive in cages was also allegedly discussed. As of this
Mm,
writing, Callahan's LinkedIn profile suggests he is the vice president of WWE SmackDown. I'm going to click on the
mm.
link to his LinkedIn profile.
The
Curious.
link. No, I've looked at LinkedIn. It's accurate. Yeah, he was lead writer for Raw from late 2016 through mid 2019, and then SmackDown during this time.
And
This is
wow,
lead writer.
this
Yeah.
is now the question here. I'm going to pose
Mhm.
this question.
Yeah.
Are we having the same conversation if Shane Thorne is hunting a white male? Do you think
Of course not. No. No. No.
now whether that's right or wrong is a different discussion, but just the fact like I don't think we would be having this discussion personally. Now, it is I don't know. That's a tough one too because
What I will say, sorry, you finished? I've got something to say here.
yeah, it's just a tough one because it's like ooh, it's not a great I don't know, but that's like with WWE, the reality and storyline gets blurred. Because
Mm,
people will see that and they'll freak out, like, "Oh my God, this guy is holding a black man in a cage." There's
yeah.
no room for like any kind of wackiness, I guess, in WWE in this day and age. Yeah, it's not a great look.
Mm,
Having a man hunt another man as a crocodile gimmick and keep him in a cage, like
yeah.
mm, that's weird.
Hey,
It's weird.
I will say with that, from an Australian's point of view, this is about Shane Thorne, an Australian.
Keep going. I'll be back
Yeah.
1 second.
When I look at that, I see someone being Australian myself. I think that there's a basis for that sort of character, that sort of hunter, that Steve Owen tribute sort of character, because that's what really this sort of thing is. I get the stereotype of Australians is throw shrimps on the barbie and you're hunting animals and all this sort of stuff because of Steve Owen. I get that, But as you allude to, Kevin, is where you incorporate the keeps capturing Reggie element, and like Reggie gets captured and that's where it takes a step too far almost. Because you can have Shane Thorne, because Shane Thorne has like no character. If you ask me what's Shane Thorne, I couldn't tell you. So they made Shane Thorne, he was either a hunter, he was Steve Owen, he loves the outback, he's like a 70s redneck Australian. Cool, like that's a good idea, I think. As an Australian, I'd get behind that, I'd get around it. But it's this whole thing with Reggie, and he locks Reggie in a cage and Reggie escapes again. Like, how would they possibly present that on TV without it getting insane backlash? You know,
No, it's
I,
bad.
I
No.
can't understand it. But yeah, basically, I think Shane Thorne having a general sort of hunter generally gimmick, like a Steve Owen sort of animal, so something like that, that could have been quite good. But that idea is just way overblown with the hunting and stuff. I don't know.
No, I agree. Next storyline that we had here that was allegedly pitched. So the plaintiff, Miss Abrahams, stated that she emailed Ryan Callahan and complained about Apollo Cruz's exaggerated Nigerian accent. Cruz is of Nigerian descent. However, he was made to speak in the accent from 2020 to 2021, where he also carried a spear to the ring. So now this one really doesn't surprise me at all that this is being mentioned. You could see the tension and you could feel the uncomfortableness in Apollo while he was performing this. Now, on one hand, it's a double-edged sword because yeah, you're given what you given. You know, like it's like Apollo Crews is not the first guy ever to have like a gimmick like this. You know, we've seen bad gimmicks a million times over. Like Kane was a dentist before he was Kane. You
Oh
know,
my god.
we've seen
Yeah.
like garbage men, but at the same time, it's also a bit on the borderline of like uncomfortableness and offensiveness. So it's another one that's really tough to navigate. Um, and yeah, you can see this play out on TV. You can feel it. Like I said, you can just feel the tension.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, when Cruz, that gimmick was really good. This is the thing; like he did a really good job with that in early 2021. Like I remember praising him quite a bit. I know you praising him from memory.
I
Like it
was.
was good stuff. It was good stuff. But yeah, that part was generally when he did it, it's like I think a couple times. I mean, we did the accent. It like was proper good. Other times it sounded like he didn't want to be doing it, and it sounded messy. And then sometimes he just didn't do it at all. So it was a bit inconsistent, but yeah, that popping up in this suit, no shockers whatsoever, considering the basis of the suit. So yeah,
Hmm. All right, so let's see. So there was another
you
black
wanted to
woman.
address yeah the Bianca Belair thing or the love triangle storyline.
No, love triangle. That's what I'm getting to. So there was another black woman on the writers' team, Isla Silvers. She was allegedly tasked with pitching a love storyline between Aaliyah, Mansoor, and Angel Garza.
What a
This,
random collection of talent as well. That's so random. Okay.
the storyline would allegedly involve Mansoor, who was 5 years old in 2001, revealing that he was secretly behind the 9/11 attacks. New details suggest Vince McMahon pitched an idea for Mustafa Ali that was just as bad, which reportedly led to Ali requesting his release in 2022. Ali was denied that request and continues to compete on WWE TV. Whew, man,
Wow.
that is a humdinger, my friend. Um, I don't even want to touch that. I really don't want to touch that. I'm just gonna
That's
leave it. I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna leave it. If you
I will
have
just
anything to say,
I'll put in
please.
a couple of comments on that. I mentioned this and touched on it in my video I made on this lawsuit. That is probably the most insane pitch for an angle I've heard. A 5-year-old man saw reveals in this random lower card SmackDown love triangle storyline with Aaliyah and Ali, I think you said was
Ali,
involved.
no, Angel Garza. Angel
Angel Garza,
Garza.
yeah, yeah. So I was thinking Ali because of the
Yeah.
thing you just mentioned there. No, Garza, Aaliyah, and so Mansoor was like, yeah, when I was in first grade, I orchestrated 9/11. Like just that happened. Like shocking. It sort of it makes me kind of speechless that was pitched and just even in passing. Because I know as you said earlier, some of the ideas that no doubt get pitched in these writing meetings are so outrageous and so off the wall that they don't even deserve to be mentioned again. I mean, this is one of them. This is one of those ones where it's sort of just like imagine you're in a meeting and you got Callahan who's like 3 seats down says this and you go, sorry, huh? What did you say? Huh? Like,
right?
you
Like
just say
what?
that?
Like did they
Like,
not
what
learn from
impressed
the
you?
Muhammad Hassan stuff?
Like, in 2021 as well, like,
That would have been on CNN,
probably,
Fox News. That would have been everywhere. You'd have Tucker Carlson talking about that. Like,
yeah, before Tucker gets fired. Like, you have CNN, you have The View would do segments on this. They have all the women being like, WWE died the moment they killed Chris Benoit. Like, they'd be doing stuff like that. But, so it's insane. So, Kevin, you want to move on with the suit, pal?
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I was talking about Bianca Belair real quick.
Yes.
So Chris Dunn, WWE writer, scripted Belair to say, don't make me take off my earrings and beat your ass. The lawsuit alleges Belair told Dunn 3 different times that I don't want to say that line, but he never listens to me. He put that line in every week. That's the worst one. That's in my opinion, that's the worst one. Like in terms of like in the court of law, you know. I think that's the one that like the court of law would look at and be like, eh. Because realistically, the 9/11 storyline, how far did that get? Like that could have been like a 3 a.m. writers pitch session where everybody's tired and they're all giving out stupid ideas. You know,
Yeah.
this is the World Women's Champion saying, "Hey, this is in the script. I was supposed to say this. I chose not to say this." You know, and that's why I come at it with that standpoint that this is the worst one in the
Yeah.
court of law potentially. Like this is literally
Yeah.
like one of the biggest stars of the company being like, yeah, like I'm not comfortable with this. And it's also it's like, oh, okay. It's like a white man saying, "Oh, okay, you're black. Like this is how you're supposed to act because you're black." And yeah, very uncomfortable. Ooh, man, that's yikes. Wow.
Yeah, no, I take your point with that because my like on the scale of like sort of outrage when I look at all the different things that were listed as we discussed, the 9/11 pitch is the most like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened sort of thing from that standpoint. But as you say, like in the court of law, more so that one. But at the same time, like my stance on that, yeah, like if it's the Raw Women's Champions, the face of your women's side of the show, like the women's part of the company, if she goes to Dunn or whoever these writers once and goes, look, I'll happily do the rest of that promo. That's fine, but I don't want to say like that one line. There's no need to say that line. There just isn't. And then the normal writers would just be like, yeah, that's fine. We can tweak it, or which words you want to take out, or the whole line, or how can we shift it? But instead, it's just week after week for, as I said, there, I think 3 times.
Three
Let's just
times,
make
yeah.
make Belair say that. Let's get her to say that line. As you got Callahan, Dunn, bunch of 6-year-old white dudes going, oh yeah, I'm not gonna say that. And it's like, come on, you've seen the picture of Callahan on LinkedIn, right? Like this is hardly, this is just some random old white dude who's like let himself go. Like, I don't know. I don't
Brutal.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal. Wow,
So yeah. Well.
man. So overall, to wrap this up and put a bow tie on it,
Yeah.
Vince McMahon has faced numerous allegations throughout his life that we have spoken about many times. Now, recently he got taken down by the paralegal. That is a whole different thing. Vince McMahon got fired basically for having sex. Like, okay. Not fired, but he got the outrage because he had sex and he paid the woman off to hush hush about it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Everybody has sex. Is what it is. Not the end of the world. You know? This is like
Yep.
a whole different scenario in and of itself. This is like, man, sad. I don't even know what to say. I'm trying to watch my words carefully. Just sad to see. It's a reminder of the injustices and the biases that exist in people's minds, and it's just like being thrown right in front of our faces.
Yep.
And it makes me wonder, just like how many other entertainment entities this is affecting. And I don't want to get too political with this, so I'm gonna tread words carefully here. WWE was run by Vince McMahon, who is like one of the faces of conservative. His wife was on Trump's board, so conservatives think a certain way. And now you can see the political climate is changing in WWE, right? Like they're trying to be more progressive. They're doing this. They're doing
Yep.
that. You know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Um,
pal.
the problem I have with it, and I think the problem a lot of people have with it, is like, if you're gonna do something, just do it. You know, you're gonna make things better, just make them better. We don't need Stephanie McMahon coming out on TV every single week saying, "Oh my God, pat us on the back. After 40 years, we're making women's wrestling important." You know,
Yeah.
We don't need that. That's when it gets like ridiculous. And you're doing this stuff on TV to save face. You know, you have Stephanie McMahon out there doing all this, but then behind the scenes, this is how you're treating the biggest star in the company. Yeah, you're treating the biggest star in the company. And now this could go one of two ways. Vince McMahon could go into the lawsuit, face the courtroom, and like he does every time, he could win. You know, and nothing's gonna change. Or things could change. Now, what would that change be? We don't know. But man, it's just getting uglier and uglier. And WWE just sold for like $9 billion to Endeavor, and there's all types of lawsuits with that, monopolizing. You know, like there are people saying, did Vince have the right to even sell? Was he rightfully able to do that? Like, I don't know. There's so much stuff going on, and you couple this with like the allegations that he had going against him, the sale, the intricacies with the sale, and how tricky that is.
Yeah.
It's not pretty, bro.
No, it's not. It's just a lot of this feels like it's compounding as well. Like there's this suit which has come out, and who knows, maybe another one or two pop up. I mean, you mentioned the ones with Endeavor, and there's some murmurings and mumblings about the details of the sale, which will no doubt play out, and we'll probably address that in weeks and months to come. There'll no doubt be more on it. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I love the point you make about WWE on screen. It's very much, yes, first women ever in Saudi Arabia to have a match. First women's this. WWE loves women and everyone, and WWE's all inclusion. And behind the scenes, it's like Ryan Callahan and this like team of white guys with Bruce Pritchard and like Michael P.S. Hayes and these like 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds who are just like kicking back, laughing, pitching 9/11 ideas and, doing all this stuff. And like, nothing's really changed, really. Like, like just Stephanie McMahon hired some more female writers a few years back to write like Divas, Jerry Springer segments a little bit, but that sort of faded out.
Jerry Springer.
And then it just became, well, yeah, we're back to this. Paul Levesque's the head of creative, and the shows are doing better ratings on SmackDown year to year, but elsewhere, like, it's with this Vince stuff before Triple H took over, all of this, Kevin. It's 2022, and nothing's really changed.
And I want to touch on this too.
Yep.
Triple H is the guy in charge. We all know the most infamous segment, the most infamous storyline Triple H has ever been a part of. I assume that's going to be used now, by the people that are on the attack, and then we're going to have, the defendants will get on there and say, hey, but Your Honor, Triple H, Paul Levesque, he's in charge. Paul Levesque is a clean-cut guy. He does not have any allegations against him or anything like this. No signs of wrongdoing or discrimination. Yeah. And then the prosecutors are gonna be like, "Hey, hold on, let's watch this clip from like the lead up to WrestleMania 19."
Yeah.
And then what do you do at that point?
Yeah, because it's like it's TV, it's for the show, but as we saw with Linda McMahon's Senate run, the Trish barking like a dog wasn't used. Oh well, that was part of the writing, and that was fine because it wasn't what Trish. It's like just very cut and dry. Watch this bit of vision. Watch Triple H saying this to Booker T. Let's watch Paul Levesque walk through the neighborhoods of Ric Flair, saying horrible things about the hoods. Let's watch how they, what they did with Booker T. Like that sort of stuff as well. I mean, Triple H's been involved in a number of outrageous segments. Katie Vick being another one, among some other stuff with DX in the late, the late 90s. Like there's a lot of stuff where if they do these hit piece investigations and try and bring him down in a few years, once we get bored of the Triple H honeymoon and Triple H becomes the guy who they're trying to bring down in like 5-10 years, there's plenty to work with there on screen at least. Who knows behind the scenes what happens? By the looks of what we've been told, Triple H is much better from a leadership standpoint behind the scenes, which is good by and large. But who knows with this, Kevin? So much behind the scenes stuff in wrestling. We get a show in front of the camera on screen, but behind the scenes is just as compelling, if not more compelling, most of the time.
That's wild. This is wild. Yeah. All right, pal. Well, I think I think we've said everything we can say. So we'll
Yep.
leave it here. We'll talk to you guys. I guess we'll talk to you for the Backlash preview. Look out for that in about 3 days' time from this. So we'll probably drop that around Thursday.
Yep.
Got a little Backlash talk going. But yeah, we'll talk to you then.
Easy. Peace.